who's joined me and Anton today. Um, we are going to be speaking about a whole host of things AI related. But first of all, I want to say hello to anyone who's logged on. It would be really good to, if you could, just comment where you're listening or watching from. But also alongside that, kind of where you're at in your AI or technology journey at the moment. It would just be really cool to know. But yeah, I want to say a huge thank you in advance for Anton for sparing the time in speaking to me today and kind of sharing his wisdom. He's a very busy man, so very lucky to have him speaking today. So if you wouldn't mind, Anton, just kind of sharing a bit more about yourself, giving a bit of an intro, but also giving, I guess, an overview of what your role is at the moment. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks a lot, Anna, for inviting me and having me here today. So yeah, so I think everyone has its own way working with AI. My is divided into three parts. So I have some consulting experience in big three companies. So it's McKinsey in my case. The second part is more kind of data engineering role where I was leading a team of 15 plus people. And the third one is a data science role, actually, that is called now um mostly often AI. So yeah, there is a bit of difference between AI and data science. So, but I'm working with AI as well. So we're doing AI systems, and I'm leading a team of 40 plus people now. So, yeah, and we're doing a lot of solutions that are giving big value to the company value chain and to the sustainability and to, yeah, to the future, to the future of our kids and kids of our kids as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. It's really cool that what you're basically working on at the moment um, will be kind of impacting future generations, and it'll almost be kind of books about what we're doing now. People will be reading. Well, not me, you, but that will be really cool as well. And for anyone who's just joined, we have Anton today speaking about his journey in data science and AI. To give a bit of an overview, we'll be kind of discussing his career journey, what he's working on, any tips that he can give for people looking to take, that career path into head of, chief of, making those steps up. And then if you have any questions that we don't cover or anything that you're keen to ask, we'll have time for a few questions at the end, hopefully. And then anything that we can't answer, we'll try and kind of cover in the comment section after. But if you're all good, Anton, I'll jump into a few of the questions that I was keen to ask you. So obviously you've given the intro into you, kind of where you are today. What kind of inspired you initially to get into the field of AI and data science? What kind of marked that sort of first step into your career as it is now?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Thank you. Yeah, to be transparent, so 10 years ago, I started this journey, but so around 10 years ago, but I didn't know it will be so popular 10 years after. Yeah. And my initial thoughts was about yeah, salary as as I was graduated from university, so I wanted to start from to start being a scientist. Yeah, but I had relationships that time, so it was hard just to be scientist. So I started, yeah, to work more in IT in data sphere. And the second thing, I liked it a lot, and then it became popular actually. So and all the stars come in one place, and yeah, I enjoy it a lot now. So yeah, it's more more like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a story for a lot of people that I speak to, kind of, you had that interest in science or the sciences or mathematics or, initially internet technology. And I think that interest kind of, a lot of what's been happening at the moment has excelled you into this career path. And it's just kind of blown up, hasn't it, into kind of even out of our control, in terms of every industry is kind of using data science and AI. So it's super exciting. What, in terms of AI, I know I'm assuming you can't speak about everything you're working on at the moment. There'll be some things that you can't, but what sort of AI initiatives or projects are you currently working on with your current business?
Yeah, sure. The cool thing about the data and working with the data is that now you just can work not only with data, but just with the industry that you love to work, actually. Because now, for example, in my case, so my background is physics. So I graduated from Moscow State University as a physicist. And the cool thing that 10 years ago it was IT, and now it can be combined from several domains. Yeah, and the things I like the most, that I wanted to be a scientist at some point of time, and actually. Norilsk Nickel is a metals and mining company, and cool thing that here comes the intersection of physics, IT, and business. Yes, and we're doing mostly. So we just analyzed the value chain when I came. It was 4.5 years ago, and so we just done a prioritization of problems that we can solve. And the interesting thing is that, yeah, of course, the first priority is given to the initiatives that are giving more money to the company. Yes, so or maybe other benefits, for example, yes, so ecological ones. And the first list of first priority problems is around technology, because if you produce 100 more tons of nickel or other metals, it will give you a lot more money than, for example, if you will optimize the back office. Yes, and for the last, I think, yeah, for the last 4.5 years, yeah. So nothing has changed too much. We're focusing more on the main value chain, so it's nickel production, reducing waste, and all other things that keep the process sustainable. And I have, I think. So I would say there are three types of solutions that were. So I classify it as my machine learning model. My neural network classifies it into three types. So first one is I call it cruise control-like systems for technologies. So for example, you can imagine some kind of technological process that it's going maybe on some factories, on some production facility, and you imagine the poor technologist that manages more than 1,000 parameters on the screen at the same time, and he doesn't, or he or she they doesn't know that they can lost a lot of money to the company, or they can give, yeah, actually. And so we're doing kind of system that can help them to manage the process, because it's hard for the human to look. So yeah, I've traveled a lot to the production facilities, and the usual thing is you have to watch around 9 or 10 screens at the same time, yeah, and just to try to do something with the process. I didn't understand why. So there could be 2 or 3 people watching this, yeah, but usually it comes only to the one, and there are usually 2 or 3 shifts, yeah, that are coming each day. And yeah, we're just doing kind of systems that are helping them to manage the process more smoothly, and to be more flexible. So it's my analogy for that is a cruise control like system. So for example, you have a car, yeah, and you just turn on the cruise control regime. Yeah, and we're doing kind of systems, kind of the similar, but it's not the car. This is a factory. Yeah, and a lot more parameters. Still interesting. Yeah. The second type of the projects we're doing, so they are about computer vision models. I call it kind of sensors. So, for example, if you imagine the ore that is going through the conveyor belt, we're doing. So we're installing the cameras above the conveyors and just managing, looking for the ore size parameters, ore size distribution. Even we can see the ore color, and so we can see all the things that human eye can see, and not only, yeah. And this eye, so it can look. So it's very robust, yeah, because it can give you the data just in continuous way. And the third one type that we're doing, third type of solutions is I call it virtual sensors. So just for example, if you imagine the mill that mills the ore, it's hard to look inside the mill because it's very dangerous and you don't see anything actually. And we're doing this some kind of solutions that help to understand what's going on inside. We're using not just only data science machine learning, but we're using physics equations as well. So just to understand what's going on inside, and then we can predict what happens inside and do something about managing the technological process. Yeah. Actually, there's one more category about the AI in manufacturing. So it's a predictive analytics. So, for example, you're just trying to predict what will be with something. So just to it's kind of anomaly detection. Yes, anomaly detection problem. If someone will break, yes, for example, conveyor belt or just other parts of the technological process. And we're trying to predict what could be the potential problem. It's this type of solutions is a bit harder to implement because people are usually don't believe it. Because for some time, at some point of time, we're doing the kind of systems that are more, I would say, so it's false positive. By that I mean, if we detect anomaly, it's better for us to do a false positive than just to miss, kind of thing that, and there will be a lot of loss. And people during the time when the system works stopping to believe to this system because it's like false positive, false positive, false positive. Yes. And they just at some point of time they're just telling that okay, it's I think it doesn't work. Yeah. And at some point of time it can alert you, you'll miss it, and it can break down. Yes. So we're trying to work with that as well, but it's kind of open problem now. And the last thing, we're doing kind of different types of models. So it's kind of R&D process where we're trying to work with natural language processing as well. Yeah, because it's a hot topic now. We don't have a lot of text data because just when we're talking about manufacturing, it's mostly time series data. Yes. and computer vision. But we're still trying to find some kind of solutions and to apply it. Just investing some time to be in trend. Yeah, actually. Yeah. So this is an overview of the system we're doing.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's so much for you. I can only anticipate it's overseeing a lot, because a lot of companies will just specialize in computer vision, and that's what they're doing day in and day out. Or, like you said, more on the generative AI side with large language models. That's kind of the new up and coming topic, and I'm sure a few people watching this at the moment. It's a big area of interest for a lot of people, as it's like an emerging AI area. But yeah, that's really interesting. And we did touch on it a little bit in what you were saying. But if you could just let us know kind of what is the biggest challenge you've encountered in integrating AI technologies, because the industry that you're in is known as being quite a traditional industry, for example, like mining and metallurgy. How have you sort of addressed an issue that's come up for you in this sort of cross between the two worlds of traditional and new tech?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. The first thing about our company is that we have more than 70,000 people. So it's the first problem, I think, because the technology is new. We started so our initial team was consisting of 2 people. Yeah, and we just needed to do something about it. So there was just just initial stage, and there was nothing when we come there. Nothing about AI and innovation. And I will address it a bit later, but several more challenges that are there is the technology stack. So just because the company is big and on the traditional side, technology stack is older than maybe other 90%, I would say, of other companies, that are doing something in the internet, because our company does so. We don't do much in the internet, so just our data on our production facilities mostly. And the first thing. The second thing is the information security. So there is a high risk of from the cybersecurity standpoint that, for example, we're managing part of the process, yes, and imagine that someone gets access to our system and will try to manage production facility. It will be very so it's my hell dream, I would say. Yes. And one more thing is organizational thing, because just no one knew about AI. We've got a lot of people there, and when we're trying to implement something, no one knows about machine learning, and they just think that AI will replace them. But they don't know that, for example, for many production models, we just use linear regression, and linear regression won't replace any human. I hope, yes. And so we just trying to do a big job in terms of telling people that AI. So AI is not only AI. Let's talk about the models that we're working with. What is the goal of this model? Why it's hard for you to why it's hard for the model to replace you, why it should support you. Yes, and usually you just have to do 80% of the job is to convince the people, and you just need to show them that the model will work, and it helps them. Yeah, and some specifics of our team, and so of our company, and of implementing AI to our company, that we were working on production facility a lot, because 80% of our end users are working on production facilities. And we just saw how the process works. So they are just our customers, and we showed them that we're just people as well. We're not AI, yes, and we know about the process. And just when we were drinking tea with each other, it made us so they feel more confidence that we're just regular people, and it made the things better. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with larger organizations, like the one that you're working within, and particularly when it's like a digital transformation or AI transformation era, it seems like your advice would be clear and face-to-face interactions, clear communication, stuff like simple things like this goes a really long way for those who aren't, working in the AI industry or general tech industry. We see a lot of kind of clickbait online of, AI is going to take your job, or AI is going to take over the world, and having that sort of clear communication line between yourself and other members of the industry or company just makes a huge difference. So that's, I think, a really key piece of information. Um, and then I guess one thing I was keen to ask is there an example of like a really big improvement or an innovation or piece of technology or platform that you've brought on via AI that has, clearly impacted either operations or sustainability efforts or productivity? Is there anything that comes to mind whilst you've been working in the company that's made that sort of impact?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the question. So, yeah, the first thing that our solutions are doing, so we receive a real implementation in terms of increasing throughput of the factory, yes, so increasing nickel production and reducing waste, just from the ore, yes, and from the reagents and other types of solutions. So the type of cruise control like system, as I said, so they give us around, so more than 50 million pounds annually, just around 10 models. So it's a really big number in terms of business metrics, yes. And just we've got some solutions about sustainability, and ecological topic, but we're not using AI at this moment there too much, but we're doing kind of data analytics for that, because there is not too much data actually to see, and in our company it's just the stage where when we started to look for the ecological metrics more often, yes, and just we have some kind of dashboards to monitor that, and we're just installing a lot of sensors to look for it. And just for example, so in one of our city, we've got it's called permafrost, yeah, and there is a problem of global warming. Yeah, and I was in the city, I think, for 3 months. Yeah, when there was minus 50 degrees of Celsius. So it's Norilsk, actually, the main city. And it's crazy experience, actually, especially when you was working. So I was living in Moscow just for a lot of time, actually. So it's just a big city, 8 million people, and just coming to this city, yeah, well, it was crazy and just changed my life, I think. And so there is a problem of global warming there, and we just installing the sensors just to monitor a building condition, because you just have permafrost there, and if the earth starts to melt, there will be a problem with the buildings. And we're just doing kind of systems that monitor the temperature of different so different parts of Earth, yes, and so temperature of the building site. Adding to that, we're doing a kind of, so we're implementing big AI platform in our company just to so we've got a bunch of solutions that are working on other facilities, and we're trying to unite them, yes, and to make the work of data scientists and people just who so they're type of data scientists as the users, and there are type of people that need to check some hypothesis, and they need data for that. And we're just trying to do in a few years a platform that could allow people that know nothing about data science just to check some hypothesis. So we're doing kind of no-code thing that will help them to get some decisions. It's harder to measure an impact from this platform, but everyone understands that if you do this, the speed of the process will be much faster, yes, and speed of making the decisions even in traditional company. Yeah, so it's like that.
Awesome. That's really cool. I love the the impact, the sustainability element as well. That's really cool to see. Okay, perfect. I will keep asking a couple of questions because I'm just curious for the answers myself. But for anyone who is kind of watching or listening in, if you just pop any questions that you have for Anton about his sort of general career journey and what he's working on at the moment, feel free to kind of make a comment below, and right at the end of this, we'll address a few right at the end. So yeah, keep leaving your comments and questions, and I promise we will get to a few of them after we've gone through the majority of these. But yeah, just pulling back onto sort of the data element, because you did kind of go into that in a bit more detail. Obviously, data quality and availability are very crucial for general successes in AI implementations. How do you approach data collection and management, and I guess privacy concerns in the AI projects that you're working on for now?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So it's not easy, as a lot of our production facilities are located in the places that are hard to even fly sometimes. Yeah, because usually the ore and all the metals from the earth are usually except Australia, so far away. Yeah, so and we just did we've got a kind of financial data, yes, that it's more easy to collect because there is not too much data compared to technological one, and we actually use SAP for that. So it's a big vendor, and yeah, it just helps to unite everything in one place. And talking about technological data, it's harder because each production facility has its own data sources, and the history is that there could be different factories from different generations, yes, and there comes a lot of legacy. And in terms of technological data, we collected it from so we just done a data warehouse on each production facility, yeah, and then done it in each city where facilities are located, and then we're transferring the data that we need to the just head warehouse, I would say. So our main warehouse. But for example, in one of our cities, internet in Norilsk, internet occurred just in 2016. Yeah, as well as I remember. So it's a kind of 7 years ago, and there was a lot of data. And there is not so there is a constraint in terms of network connection, and you just have to choose very good what you would like to transfer to it to the head one. So the first thing I would say is just taking into account what data you need to work with. Yes, and you understand it if you just understand why you need this data, because a lot of companies are trying to just collect everything. I think maybe 5 years ago or maybe more, so companies started to collect everything because just maybe we will need it in some point of time. And now there is still too much data, and you just have to choose what you will use or what you won't use. And just you have to do this job, and it starts from the business objective. Yes, so you understand what's your company doing, what's your company strategy, and just you understanding then what types of AI problems you can solve potentially, and then you understand what types of data do you need, and so you just filtered it. The second thing is you just have to look for data quality side. Usually, so you should solve it. It depends on what you are doing, but we just so our processes work as follows. So we just doing some experimentation models usually in a data lake that we have in our head warehouse. Yes, so we're just trying to choose what data to filter the data and to do maybe some kind of experiments with that. And when we understand what's going on, of course, we need to manage data quality, because I think at least 70% of the job is to making sure that data quality is good. And you just have to do this job. So the reasons why data is bad, there can be, I think, infinite numbers of reasons why it's not accurate. So you have just to classify it as well, to understand what are the priorities. So it can be something with production facility, something with network connection, something with data science model, yes, and so on. So you just have to build this process. So we've done a kind of ML ops, as I said, so it's part of the solution ML ops platform, where we're just trying to catch all these things with the limited resources, of course. And you have to look for the data that is most critical, yes. So there can be problems with another data, but maybe you don't need it. And maybe you can, so you may need it in 2 years' time, but just you have to spend less time on that. So it could be the problem you have to look, but you just can look not too much, because you can look you can look for data quality all your time. So we're working on our platform most of the time, and then if we're talking about production, so we're usually doing it on production facilities, just making sure everything works. So we kind of got 3 on-premise data centers where we just launching in production our models and monitoring them. So even though we launched the models, and just we're looking for robustness of the solutions, We monitoring some metrics as well, because data quality, there are problems. For example, maybe there could be different types of work coming to the production facility and all other things. Maybe something with weather, even seasonality impacts the how much nickel you're producing and other metals. And so we're looking for all these parameters and just trying to filter, as I said, and to use some data modeling techniques and some techniques about data quality, just to alert if there will be some kind of critical problem for you. So that's it.
Cool, thank you. I think sometimes that's a bit of an underlying factor that isn't thought about as regularly. I guess moving on to your own sort of learnings. How do you keep up to date as you've become more hands off in your career with new technologies and new uses of AI? And how do you present that across the team? How do you keep making sure your team's developing in that area as well?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. Actually, I'm trying to not to forget how I was coding, because I think this is important thing. So SQL, Python. So this is important thing, and I would say there are several things. So yeah, software engineering. Yeah, to some point you have to know about it. It's quite classical. Yeah, it develops as well, but not as fast as machine learning. And the second thing is ML ops. So something about data and how it develops, as we have a lot of data, and how to optimize the performance of some models and so on. So there is a lot of information in different sources. You just can research, but I prefer just to have a subscription on the aggregators that are doing kind of news about new technologies. Yes, news aggregators. And if there is something interesting about it, you just can learn more. Maybe read some research on this site, and maybe just look for. So actually, you can find anything now. Yeah, and it just allows you to look if you're interested in something, just to deep dive in it. Yes. And the same is about machine learning, actually. So there are a lot of directions, and it's just hard to know everything. And I'm trying to filter the topics I'm interested about now. So I would say I would divide into two categories. It's very important to generally understand what's going on in the world of AI. So maybe in some topics, and to understand well the things that you are doing and want to do maybe in a few years. Yes, it's the first thing. So it's I would say about it's more about self-education. Yeah, and talking more about the team. So how for me the best case of team developing is to exchange experience, because everyone knows something that others don't know, and it's important for the team, especially when this is a big team, just to exchange experience. So maybe some techniques that others don't know, and maybe you just had an education about it, yeah, and just want to tell someone how it works. And actually, if you prepare some materials about it, you will know, so you will understand it even better, because you just need to explain it to someone. And this is, I think, the very important thing for everyone. It can be even junior data scientist, yeah, or maybe senior data scientist. It's important to just exchange this experience, and we're trying to do this kind of exchange of the some technical news, yeah, or maybe some techniques. is the first thing. The second one, I would say that it's important to exchange experience with different companies. So we're exchanging experience with some metals and mining companies. Just maybe if there can be some kind of similar solutions, or maybe just we give each other some kind of ideas how something works or doesn't work. And interesting thing, because we're talking about data actually time series data is it's funny thing, but it's actually nearly the same. So time series data in production facility is nearly the same than in banking, for example. Yeah, and you can exchange with some banking companies about the techniques you're using, and just not only banking companies. For example, if we're talking about computer vision, they're using retail a lot, and we use computer vision. So retail companies are using computer vision, yeah, and we use it too. Just we can exchange with some retail companies. So, and the list is infinite. Important thing is just not to try to develop something by yourself, just thinking that you are doing something cool. You just can exchange experience with others, be more open, because as many people know, 97% of AI projects aren't doing, so they don't go until production side. Yeah, maybe the number has changed. So we're talking about innovation, and you just have to exchange with others. It's very, very important, and be as open as possible. So I'm trying to be as open as possible, yeah, to the world,
Yeah.
in the life. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really important as well. Like something like computer vision, as you use the example, is so transferable. You know, pretty much most of the industries I know are using it in some capacity, and that goes for stuff like NLP and language models, etc. So anything that you can share, you never know how useful it may be to a different project. I know that there are a few people asking questions, so I'll limit myself for two more or one more, and then we can jump into the questions that are being asked. But looking back at your AI leadership journey, what are the sort of lessons or the main lesson you have learned that could be useful for people aspiring to get to that sort of level? What would you say is your main learning lesson over the years?
Yeah,
A
that's a
big
good.
question.
Yeah, more of philosophy. Actually, I think the biggest lesson is that so you just have to a job in machine learning and in AI is so it's like the other jobs, yeah. So some people can imagine or are thinking that there is a rocket science or some magic behind it, but yes, data scientists are just working as well. So they're coming, drinking coffee, and doing all the things. So it's just you have a regular job. So nothing fantastic. Yeah, maybe some overtiming. Yeah, but actually, it's a job, and if you're going into it, you just have to understand your goals. Yes. So actually, if we talk about AI, so it's a big topic, and there are several roles you can consider. Yeah, and it's interesting to try all of them. I think to just some point, especially when you're early in your journey, it's easier to do. Maybe to try some coding, yes, maybe something on the business side, presenting, traveling to production facilities as well, and speaking with so doing presentations as well. And it depends actually. So you have to define your goals. What you want to achieve maybe in 5 years. Yeah. So I think it's quite similar to any job. Yeah, but I think it's very important to understand what do you want from just your journey. Yeah, and if you understand in that, there are a lot of options, and it's easier for you just to understand what do you want. Maybe if you don't understand the data domain where you are, where you want to work, or maybe this kind of things, it's not important to specify it, but you have to be not specify it too much, but you have to be specific, yes, just to understand maybe. So this is the next milestone, for example, and then I will decide what I'm going to do. It could be enough too, yeah. So you just need to have maybe some goal in mind, just not thinking and that your manager will solve all your issues for you, and you're just so I call it swimming in the river. Yeah, it's just so the river goes, so the river flows, and you're just swimming with where the river goes. So you just have to look for it, and yeah, so working within AI and data, so you have your own pluses maybe and minuses, and thus you have to compare in each point of time.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's interesting, having those clear goals of what you want to achieve, but also having the flexibility and adaptability to kind of continually change and upskill. I think that's really good advice. Okay, well, let's jump on to enough of my questions. We'll jump on to a few of the other questions. So we had a question for you saying, what is your thoughts on AI replacing HR or human resources? And what do you think on who could take a better decision making? Who is better at decision making, either humans or AI training devices? What do you think? I guess two questions in one there.
Yeah, thanks. So I think it will be hard at this point of time to replace human resources with AI. So I think the most problem is about the data. So you just you have data about yourself, but it's inside you now. Yes. The first thing from employer perspective is the best thing to find the people that match the job description, actually. So it's the main thing, and you have something inside yourself that is not quantified to this point of time, and I'm not sure when it will be quantified. Is the first thing, and I'm not sure if you will allow someone to access this data. Yes, about you. So I'm not sure that this kind of system will work very good in the few years. So it's hard to maybe do a forecast, yeah, because we see where it will go. But yeah, so and from the job, from the employer perspective, even so, the roles are very different. Even the title may be the same. The job description can be written in half an hour. The job description can be written in just 1 week. Yes, so it really depends a lot. There's no golden standard for that. And if there will be a standard, I think there won't be any standard, actually. Yeah, for me it's hard to imagine because the roles are very specific. If the world changes, I think there might be something, but I see maybe AI technologies as a help to just understand. So, for example, for a candidate, what the job roles you are looking for, and I think the system will do it better. Yes, the system AI AI technologies could help you to prepare for the interviews and maybe to the questions that potentially you could ask, and maybe help you to answer the question. And now they are helping, actually. Yes, for example, ChatGPT write cover letter for you on maybe someone was using it, and I'm sure someone was using it and uses and just so it will help you just to prepare for the interviews and to reduce the number of applications that you need to apply for, but you will still have the human interaction, and you will need to prepare for the interviews even online. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think that's true as well. There's that human element where we still don't have, ChatGPT is great in terms of, let me help me write a job description for this, and you can take pieces from it. But of course, there isn't that pure reliance on it. So I would agree with you there. I guess we've got time. We've got about just under 10 minutes left. I don't want us to get cut off. Could we do one more question? So, what are some of the common challenges in training deep neural nets, and how can these challenges be addressed?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So for us, the main challenge is and for many companies, I think, for many teams, is data labeling is the first one. So you need to receive a good labels. For example, in our tasks, in our projects, so we needed, for example, or size labeling. So we don't have a lot of or size labeling in the internet, and we just needed to be done by ourselves. So actually, there are a lot of data labeling companies that are doing this job. So maybe small companies. I'm sure you know about. Amazon Mechanical Turk. Yeah, so you can ask someone to do this job, but you should be very specific about it. And so you need to understand how much data labeling you need to make the model work better. Yes, is the first thing. So you just have to be very specific, flexible but specific. Yeah, as we were talking about. The second thing is about performance on the training part. Yeah, you have to choose the architectures, and you just have to be sure that on the training side, your infrastructure will deal with it good, so that there will be enough time for it to train the model. And maybe you want to change something, so you've got usually a project with a deadline, and you just have to be flexible. So it's a combination of data labeling and this kind of things. I think one of the main challenges as well. So when you implemented the model and it works, for example, computer vision models that measures the ore size in real time. It works. So in our case, it works on a server with a good GPU. But I think the future of that is when you will have cameras with its own GPU. Yes, for example, NVIDIA Jetson and something like that. And if you just can do the models, so the first thing you have to do, the cool thing would be if you could do deep learning models on a CPU, for example, yes, just to make it more simple, and it will give you kind of the same result, or maybe nearly the same. So you don't have to think. So just in case of machine learning models, you have to do something not perfectly good, but good enough, yes, and you just have to think about it. And maybe if there some of So there is some research on this topic. So just calculating maybe some deep learning models on CPU, so some inference on CPU, or maybe on small GPUs. And if just you will simplify the model inference, and and if you'll make it better, you will be a billionaire probably. Yeah, if you'll do it maybe in the year or two. Yeah.
Well, the race is on, I guess, to do
Yeah.
that. Well, I'm not going to do it. There's much more chance of you doing that, Anton. Well, thank you so much. What we will do, I know there is a few other questions, but like I said, Anton is a busy man. So we'll try and get through to those questions and answer anything that we've missed. But I just wanted to say a personal huge thank you to you, Anton. Your kind of insights and your career journey is not only inspirational, but the fact that you're willing to share some of the things you've learned along the way is great and so useful, I'm sure, to many people. So just wanted to say a big thank you for doing this. And like I said, we'll try and get back to any of the questions that we missed. But it's been an absolute pleasure. And I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much as well. It's a pleasure for me to as I said, I'm an open man, so
Yeah.
so I'm very pleasure to just to share my experience with
Yeah, and
anyone
that's
that
great.
likes.
So shoot Anton a connection request on LinkedIn. And yeah, like I said, we'll get back to anyone we miss. But yeah, huge thank you. We'll sign off now, but I'm sure we'll meet again, Anton. And thanks so much, everyone, for watching.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.